what's going on? It's Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. I'm not alone, obviously. I'm joined by two friends. I got Nub Kex, Nub Raids. What's up, Nub? How you doing, man?
Hey, great to be back on the channel. How are you?
Great to have you, man. I'm doing good. Update day here. We got YST as well. YST, what's up, man?
How's it going, Mr. Nubby and Ash? It's a three-part collab today. Let's go.
Yeah, we're doing it up because it's update. As I said, it's a new dungeon update day. We have strong thoughts on awesome champions on these dungeons. It's crazy. I don't know about you guys. We haven't talked a lot like going into the video, so I'm gonna get your fresh opinions here. But some of them seem like really easy, like Spider. And some of them, they seem really broken and difficult, like Fire Knight. Like that's my first take on everything. As a matter of fact, Fire Knight might be broken, so let's save that one for last. And what I kind of want to do is just kind of show you the teams that I've been running. And I'm not sitting here telling you these are the best teams or the worst teams or anything like that. I just kind of threw them together and didn't watch any YouTube videos. And I want to get your thoughts on maybe your favorite champions and what you think of the overall dungeons. So let's jump right into it here. Let's start with Dragon's Lair. By the way, guys, check out Nubs and YST's YouTube channels. Two of my favorite content creators in the scene. Not just saying that. There's two of the few content creators that actually watch all their videos because they're incredibly insightful about everything in the game. That's why I have them on today. So we get stage 10 of the Dragon. I want to mess around, as you guys can see. So I have a very weird team that probably nobody can build. But my overall take before we get into the team here on Dragon is that it's the easiest of the four, maybe. Like, what do you guys think about the new Dragon?
I think the Dragon is like, I kind of took it on a very similar way to the other Dragon, just poison, explosion, LNR rules. But the one thing that actually took me off guard was I was going through the waves like, yo, this is easy. And then boom, you hit the boss and then he just absolutely wrecks you, right? So one thing that I really like to do was bring in somebody like a Mithrala Lifebane and put some shield or some protection or a reviver there just for that final stage, just so you could survive the big nukes. But apart from that, it seemed like very similar. You can still get away with the poison explosion, no problems.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of people are still, or some champions can solo or duo Dragon 10 even on hard, kind of as it was before. At least a couple of my clanmates have. Let me ask you guys, Nub, what team are you running on Dragon 10 hard?
So right now, I just have like a full 5-man team. So like YST said, I've got the Mithrala in for survivability. I brought in Pythion. I brought in one of the guys you have there, Nishak, as well. So I kind of went for more recent fusions, right? That can come in and just rip through it. And then I put in Elenarl and so more pay to win, Elenarl and a Prince Kymar for blowing up the poisons to get through the waves a bit faster.
Yeah.
And then the resets. Kymar's actually amazing, right? Because he's got the resets. But then the boss hits real hard, and the boss gives himself increased attack now. So that Kymar buff strip actually comes in kind of clutch to make it easier. Plus the poison's on his A1. So yeah, that's the team I've been running. And yeah.
Good call. I mean, my team here is obviously not a speed running team at all, but I wanted to try like this crazy poison synergy team, right? So I have, they all have like a cool poison passive or something like special about them. King Galkabar has a cool poison on his passive. We have Noct. We have Corvus, who I just pulled. And then we have Nishak, and obviously, again, not a fast team. I just wanted to kind of mess around with what I can do with a combination of heals and a bunch of poisons. Let me ask you guys, what epics do you recommend? Maybe somebody who, maybe they just cleared Dragon 25 and they're like, okay, I might not be able to get to stage 10, but what overall type of strategy should I be using here? Besides, I guess just poisoners and cleansers and healers? Is that as simple as it is? Not to oversimplify it, but
it's kind of like that in a sense, I guess. Yeah. It's like you want to have some sustainability. I feel like Dark Kayle is a very good option as well with the way that you can instantly detonate the poisons to maybe get through the boss a bit more efficiently. But then again, like if you're getting smacked like this, you need to have that form of protection. And of course, here you've got a lot of heals, some continuous heals and some
heals on heals
champions, right?
Yeah, you said some continuous heals. Look at that.
Yeah. Dude, that's Galkabar. Are you guys familiar with him? Are you guys familiar with him at all or no?
Not super familiar, no, but clearly he heals a lot.
Look at that. Knocked with 2 mil, bad L with 2 mil heals. Let me show you really quickly here on Galkabar, this is why he has so many continuous heals. His A3 removes all debuffs from all allies. Places a continuous heal for 1 turn on each ally for each debuff removed from them. So,
Nice.
hence all those continuous heals. And then he has the reverse on the Vitriolic Thorns. Attacks all enemies, places a poison debuff for each buff removed on them. Also would block buffs. And his passive, whenever enemy under poison debuffs attacks an ally under a shield, instantly activates 1 poison. Also instantly activates a continuous heal buff on the attacked allies. So definitely a really cool synergy there. Noct has that passive, heals his champion by 3% of his max HP, and all allies of this champion's 1% for every time a poison ticks on an enemy. Bad L obviously brings the poisons and then has the extra poison damage on his passive. Yeah. And then you guys are familiar with Nishak. And then Corvus has decreases the damage enemies receive under poison, decreases the damage inflict under poison by 5% per poison debuff. So it's my all poison team with no combustion, which is a little unorthodox. Anyway, so we think that the dragon overall is fairly, I don't want to say easy, because he hits like a truck, to your point, but the strategy doesn't change too much, right, between the regular dungeon.
Yeah, it's just more about sustainability. Maybe get some brimstone in there. If you've got a high star blessing, you definitely see a better value there as well, 100%.
Okay, talk to me about Spider's Den. Spider, to me, I'm like the happiest about, because it feels like it feels like we went backwards here. Like, okay, we have to really fine tune our strategy and get the burns and the stuns on stage 21 to 25, and then they come out and they're just like, yeah, just nuke the hell out of her, like, who cares?
Yeah.
So Trunda, I should say, if anybody has Trunda, you just saw her there. She can almost one shot Dragon Hard 10 with her A2. So if you have Trunda, go ahead and run her. What kind of give me any of your thoughts. Nub, why don't you go ahead and lead off here, Ben? What are your thoughts on the new Spider?
Yeah, sure. So actually, it's really interesting that you're running Hex with Mithrala as well. So I was actually running Moranix, who is a recent fusion, who brings decreased defense Hex. And I did find some weird bugs, like sometimes if the Hex damage kills a spider, it won't proc the bonus damage that you get to the main spider. Weird stuff happening.
Ooh,
but
okay.
I did find that running like War Master, so I don't have a Trunda, but I ran a Herndig and I put War Master on him. And War Master transferring through those Hex absolutely does so much damage to the spiderlings and the spider, and it looks very much like this run.
Okay, so all you need is a big damage dealer. Have you guys experimented with enemy max HP champions?
Yeah, that's actually the team that I actually went with. I went with a double Royal Guard, a Husk, a little reset, and then he was pretty much dead in like 30 seconds, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
But very similar. It took you back a little bit, right? To like the Siege 20 days, like
it
just
does.
Everything down. I love it.
I think this is going to be a better farm than 25. Like this is the one dungeon that you're like, okay, you can pull off a pretty fast time and, get better gear. The energy cost is the same, so why not, right? So actually really happy about Spider's Den. Any other final thoughts on Spider's Den, or is that basically it? What do you guys see as the key components of a team?
I would say one of the key components, especially what you guys see, is a reset champion is very, very strong, right? Like being able to reset those cooldowns, get those nukes out on time. And if you don't manage to have that in your team, you might want to have some form of sustainability to survive one of the big hits or some of the spiderlings, because the boss is pretty fast as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a great point. Mithrala, you can see I'm using here. I'm using Lydia and Mithrala, so like not easy to get champions, but also champions that more people have than your average, Void Legendary. Any additional thoughts there, Nub, or is it basically pretty straightforward?
I think it's pretty straightforward. I think the nice thing is, like you said, I mean, for stage 25, trying to tune in the burns and stuff like that, like you kind of need a Theodore or you need a Sissia. Like they're tough champs to get. For this, for a big nuker, you could have Trunda, maybe Supreme Elhain. The upcoming fusion will work. Maybe Thea the Tomb Angel could be amazing for that too. There's loads of nukers, so many nukers you could use. So I think it's way more accessible, weirdly, than the old Spider. It's easier, strangely.
Indeed. All right, so moving on in difficulty here. Again, just a total haphazard team that I kind of threw together through trial and error. Definitely will optimize this a lot further. But I guess a few champions to note here is Walking Tomb Drang. I think he's a beast for Ice Golem. I think Ninja, obviously, if you have him, is a beast. Chronum is a great champion with the instant activations. Basically, it's about the burns and survivability. At least that's the strategy that I've kind of deployed here. What about you guys? What kind of teams did you run in Ice Golem? Why don't we start with that? YST, what are you running?
I actually had a bit of a play with the new Gallic champion because he's got those instant detonation of burns to kind of fulfill a role of a ninja, I guess. But one really good one for me was a Pythion because of the damage mitigation with his passive, right? And being able to survive some of the big hits. So that was definitely one champion that fulfilled a lot of roles. And then once again, Mithralis seems to be one of those best champions for this. She just brings so much support, shields, increased attack, and all of these non-resistible burns as well, like a Walking Tomb Drang or an Ignatius. These champions are all going to come into fruition, right?
Absolutely. Now, Benny, what team are you running?
Yeah, I'm on the Walking Tomb Drang train as well.
Yeah.
I think he's so good for this. He's so good. So yeah, I'm running Walking Tomb Drang. I actually brought in my Nishak as well. I'm on a Nishak train at the moment too after building the YST Bommel.
Yeah.
He's so good. I built the YST Bommel team, and then I was like, hey, he's amazing for Dragon 10. He's amazing for Ice Golem 10 as well. So he's my new most used champion as of like yesterday. I'm doing that. Yeah.
Well, let me rewind a little bit. What teams did you guys use on Dragon or on Ice Golem 25? Obviously, it's much different. But did you guys, just out of curiosity, did you use like poison speed teams or what strategy did you use before?
I used the one where you do the poison explosion for AoE 1 and 2, and then you lead into wave 3 and just solo with a Bad Okazar or a Gerda Bobru. That's kind of the ones I used to play with.
So obviously that doesn't work anymore.
It definitely doesn't work anymore.
So everybody's shifting to this sort of a strategy. I'm curious if there's any like maybe epic or rare champions that you guys would consider a good fit for this dungeon. One that I used was actually, and this is a guy that I remember leaning on this dude heavily back when I was like, making progress for the first time in Ice Golem, and that's Miscreated Monster, my man. Just for that great shield. Obviously the shield is based on his damage, and he's getting the extra damage from the minions as well. So I feel like having a good shield champion. Obviously I'm running Helicath as well, just for a little bit extra support here. So any not that he's an epic or a rare, but any other champions that are non-Legos that you guys would recommend for this dungeon?
Go on, Navi.
Put you on the spot, man.
Maybe Akoth the Seared could be a decent one. Like he's a Doom Tower normal room epic that you get. I think he has a HP aura. He brings you some shielding, and he's got a burn, AoE burn. I don't think it's fully consistent though, because he needs, I think, 5 targets. But still, he could be an okay option. I'm not sure.
What about like, he's a legendary. So again, I'm breaking my own rule here. But I also ran a little bit of Drexthar on the earlier stages. For a burner. So YST, what about you?
It's one of those ones where, like, once again, Dark Hail comes into this because he doesn't only just detonate the poison debuffs on his A1, he detonates burn debuffs. So if you don't have somebody like an activator, like a ninja, or somebody along those regards, bringing in someone like a Dark Hail to just chunk off the boss in particular could be a cool strategy. But one also would be like a Godseeker Ineri, because if one of your champions are close to dying, preempts that hit. And on top of that, you reset the cooldowns of the champions that die. So if your burn champion dies, brings them back, resets those cooldowns, get those burns out, fill up the turn meters, and get yourself back into the fight, right?
Absolutely. I think that's a great call out. And, this probably goes to say with all these dungeons, but like, focus on getting a team that you can actually, beat the dungeon first. Then try to find a team that you can beat the dungeons 100% of the time, so you're not wasting energy. And then step 3 is try to optimize your speed a little bit, right? At least that's how I handle it. I'm sure you guys are roughly the same. This is not the fastest team, but it's a team that I'm like, okay, I can beat it every time. Now I'll tweak a little bit and see, what would you guys change about this team, if anything? Like, who are you not impressed with? Like, why even run that champion, Ash? Be critical. Be critical.
I think the team makes sense. Honestly, I guess like the one change is
substitution.
What I wanted to ask YST actually was, what about that Supreme Gaelic instead of a ninja, right? Because he can blow up burns on the ads as well. Like, does he make a difference? Like, how fast could you do it with Gaelic?
It was pretty fast. If I remember. The only thing is he kind of decreases the cooldown of the burns at the same time, so you find that it drops off a lot. And because you've got to rely on the cooldowns, if you don't have a reset champion, it might not be up as much as you want. But it's definitely a really good option. It was probably similar to what Ash has here, about 4 minutes.
So Supreme Galek, are you going to give us to him for free? Are you going to give him to us for free, I should say?
Yes, there you go.
Absolutely.
Have them, guys.
Yeah, buddy. So we get it done. We get the job done. But yeah, I'm looking to, but Drang, man, if for those of you who can't see, but like he did 5 million damage, so like he is a rock star in Ice Golem. I find Ice Golem the second most difficult of the 4 new dungeons, but I find Fire Knight the most difficult, right? So I'm gonna have you guys here. Like we planned this collab, and I was like, okay, I'm almost done with Fire Knight's Castle, guys. Give me a few, and then like it's taken me 10 minutes to clear these stages. I'm like, you know what? We're gonna record the collab right now. Sorry, guys, and thank you again to my lovely collaborators here for being patient with me. And then you're gonna help me build a stage 8 team and give your thoughts on Fire Knight, and then I'm gonna come back solo, and let you guys know how I did. So. Give me your thoughts on Fire Knight, dude. He seems broken. He seems busted. Everybody in my clan, you know, we're not like the best clan in the world, but we're top like 200 or so. So like mostly end game, you know, long time and spenders. But I feel like everybody's struggling on Fire Knight. Is it the same with you guys? What do you think about Fire Knight? Is it broken? Let me start there.
I think at the moment, from what we were seeing on the lead up, it looks broken.
It looks broken.
Yeah, the core mechanics of it is basically you want to bring in freeze champions to fulfill a role of maybe like in a lore, right? And that way you can kind of bring in these freeze champions. You might have them in the vault. One of the highlights that Ash has got here is the Gory from the Shadow King faction, a great champion for it. And you just want to, the kind of theme is ally attackers coming in, potentially counter attackers, because the shield counter is very high on these hard mode dungeons, right? So you want to have all of these multi-hit A1s, ally attacks, crack down that shield as quick as possible, get those decreased speeds out, get those freezes out, and just control that turn meter. And that's kind of like the basics of it, but it's not as basic as it kind of sounds, I guess.
I agree. Nub, thoughts?
Yeah, so funny thing is, I tested this on the test server. I've got a video on my channel. You can actually see it. On the test server, this was really easy. They came in earlier today, and I think that they increased the boss's speed by over 100, maybe like 150. Like, I feel like on the test server, because I just did a test run earlier at the start of the video here. When I did it last time, we got to the boss, and the boss started with maybe about 1/3 of his turn meter. Now, when I get to the boss on the test server, his turn meter is full. Like, he is ready to go. So he is extremely fast, which I think is super nasty.
That is nasty, man.
So I'm not sure exactly how to deal with it. I'm thinking maybe like 2 ally attack champions to blow up the shield. Like, you got to be running like 260 speed, and then having like a Gory and Yakar at like 250 speed outspeeding the boss, coming in with the freeze to lock him down. Yeah. Maybe something like that, but it's so much harder than it was. Like,
it's a weird one, like 100%.
Right?
But even one thing I was thinking about is abusing the passive of Rhonda. Like, it sounds weird to even say that. Obviously, I really do like Rhonda.
I leaned on Rhonda heavily to get to where I am, and now I'm like, oh my god, dude, this is crazy.
It's her passive, right? Because she does that kind of ally attack feature on like a 15% chance, I believe. So every single time that you're proccing those initial hits, there's that chance for Rhonda to come through and immediately crack that shield and maybe give you that RNG aspect. But yeah, it's going to be tough if you guys don't have like multi-ally attack champions or multi-hit A1s, or it's going to be a pain, man.
Yeah, let's start there. That's a good place to kind of start. So that was my strategy early on too, right? I use like Kriela Witch Arm, I use Cardiel together, right? And then I use Foley and Rhonda, and then I kind of subbed in depending on affinity for that last spot. That's how I got as far as I did, but then I was just like, dude, I tried heal reduction with Little Miss Annie on her A1, and she has a triple hitter too, so I was like, okay, I can work with that. But then that didn't work anymore. So now I'm basically like at my wit's end here, frustrated. And I'm like, what can I do? So I tried to use Nubraid's strategy on your dev build, right? So now I have a very fast Tritraxa that is made in the background here, which I don't really care so much about how hard she's hitting as long as she's hitting fast, right? Where I don't care as much as I normally did. I'm just going to leave her masteries kind of for Arena, how I had her built. But I saw in your video, Nub, how much you loved and utilized Gory. Talk to me a little bit about Gory, because I just built him for this video.
Sure, yeah. So Gory, what he does really is all about the A2. It's a triple hit at random, and each hit books up to a 100% chance of placing freeze. So he's kind of like Allure 2.0 for this new Fire Knight. Possibly. As a cooldown, that's the downside. So getting him to sync it up, use it at the right time is a bit tricky. We might find he kind of needs Reflex set or Relentless set maybe to be super effective. I don't quite know. But yeah, he is just phenomenal for controlling that turn meter, because He's the most consistent multi-hit of freeze in the entire game. Like Yakarl's pretty good as well, but Yakarl isn't 100%. Like he can miss the freeze on his A1. He can miss it even on his A3 as well.
Yeah. So we should open.
Yeah.
We should open with A3 on Yakarl round 3, and I'll have him not use it on wave 2. Just
so I was using his
that's wrong. That's wrong, right?
Yeah, I was using his A2. His A2 is amazing. Right. It puts freeze and decrease speed, so that really is going to help with this boss because the boss is so fast now.
Yeah, you want to make sure that this is the one thing with these bosses, like the presets are so important, guys.
I know.
Think about
but I'm thinking I might just open with this A1 here because I don't know if I have the shield down in time. It's just I'm not, we'll just do that for now. Gory, I'm opening with the fresh. I don't know. I think Gory is same thing probably, right? I'm not going to want to open with the A2. I'm going to want to open with probably A1.
Yeah.
So I would say usually, yeah, but I think the boss is so quick that he's going to smack you unless I think you need the two ally attackers to come in straight away, rip the shield down with ally attack. And then you have like your Yakarl and Gory come in with their turn meter pushback straight away. With the freezes straight away, but like you need a ton of speed for that. Like it's no joke, man. I'm telling you.
I feel like this is gonna fail, and I'm going to have to basically re-gear these champions to be ultra fast. Have you guys seen anybody yet? I mean, we're recording this early afternoon Eastern time, evening your time, guys, and I haven't seen anybody, at least in my clan, pull off stage 10 yet on non-test server. Have you guys?
No.
Not currently, no.
Not currently. All right. I'm sure someone has, but it's like not like we're talking to every single player in the game.
Yeah.
But it's going to take forever to actually get to the boss. So that's like the other issue here. But I think that let's talk a little bit. Let's rewind a little bit. We mentioned Ronda. We mentioned like champions like, I guess, Foley. Brackus is kind of cool because he has a 6-time hitter on his A2, but only a 1-time hitter on his A1, which is kind of a bummer. Anybody else strike you as good options for, oh, you know what? Ruella? I guess would be a pretty good option too. Anybody else for like multi-hitters that you've been thinking about maybe?
Honestly, I've been so glued onto Crutraxa. I'm just like, when you see that 4-time hitter and then the extra turns and stuff, it's just like a no-brainer with the ally attacks. It's like an immediate thing. But this is where I feel like Ronda is the next best thing. I can't recall any other champion that has the potential to do it that many times.
What about Valkyrie? What about like Valkyrie? Are you guys running? Would you recommend running Valkyrie? Obviously, the counterattack is only going to help you if the Fire Knight gets a turn, which is probably an issue. But if you're going to be in it for the long haul, what about using Valkyrie with a counterattack and somebody like a Little Miss Annie with a heal reduction on the A1 too to help those heals, help prevent those heals? Excuse me.
Go on, sir.
I was going to say that might be like the new strategy that you have to do if the boss is just too quick. It might be all about reflect damage, counterattack, heal reduction, throw in some freezes to keep his turn meter down a bit to get more damage in. But yeah, that maybe. I think that's tough though, because there's not that many there's not that many freeze champions either, to be fair, but there's even fewer counterattack champions. So
exactly,
it'd be kind of rough.
This is a topic that's a good way to kind of segue, and as we go to approach the boss here, is about freeze. I've seen it all over the place. Like I've seen it on Reddit and forums that like freeze is a red herring. Freeze is not like you don't need to use freeze. Like that's like you're just trying to distract you or whatever. But then I see people who are like, yeah, you pretty much need freeze for the higher levels, right? And you can tell we're utilizing freeze here. What about where do you guys fall in that debate? Obviously, Nub. I mean, like you use freeze and we're using it here, so obviously you're a fan, right?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday when I did it on the test server, freeze was 100% the way to go.
Yes.
Right now, I'm not sure. But like you can see, we got his thing down.
We got it down.
If we got in with the A2 there. Oh, yeah.
Ouch.
So,
oh, my
gosh. Because you see, he hits really hard. That's where you need potentially a ton of protection to survive. And like his turn meter is filling up so quick as well.
Look at this.
The destroyed max HP. I don't know, man.
That's not right, man. That's not right.
Is he bugged, man? Is he bugged? Is he supposed to be this hard?
No. Let me tell you my secret strategy, right?
Yeah,
so my secret strategy, this is my top tip, is they've already announced all the super raids, right, for the upcoming fusion. Fire Knight is the last event in the Elhain Fusion, the Supreme Elhain Fusion. It's not coming until like the 21st. So that's like 2 weeks away. I'm just gonna sit back and chill and let someone else figure out what to do.
There you go. I love that secret strategy, man.
Yeah,
that's the pro tips, bro. That's the pro tips. All right, guys. Any thoughts on what I can do with this team before I let you guys go and bang my head against the wall for a little bit?
Honestly, it's just gonna come down to timing the skills, knowing where everything comes from. Like on round 2, maybe block off some of those free skills and maybe pay attention to the presets to see which skills are going out on time. Can you crack the shield with this many hits? And try and time those freezes straight away with the decreased speed might be a help. But it's a lot of turn count on that shield, man. It's naughty.
I know. It's like I feel like it's difficult to have Yakarl on the squad with only a 2-time hitter on the A1, you know, given the 21 shield hits. Or maybe I could try to run, I don't know, guys. Maybe I could try to take Cardial out. I don't know.
Yeah, the counterattack is a good strategy, but it's like, even if you've got the counterattack, you need to have the champions in your team have to still have those multi-hitters. So it's not like putting the counterattacks in and it's just going to save your day, because it's just going to be in that rhythm of, okay, you brought in the counterattack, you broke the shield, and he's just going to hit you back again. So you need to have the control, right? 100%. And the turn meter with the freeze is the way.
Yeah, maybe it's reflect damage. Maybe that's the... Maybe
yeah,
that's
the issue is like
here.
the reflect damage not going through the shield bust could be an issue as well with the counterattack. I don't know. It's tough.
All right, guys. Well, hey, listen.
It says it there. Look, sorry. It actually says at the bottom there, slower teams will have to rely on placing counterattack or reflect damage. They wrote it in the thing.
I know, right?
They've told us what to do.
They told us what to do, guys. You don't need us anymore.
Yeah, it's all right there. And they tell everybody, just use Marichka the Unbreakable. There you go. You're good.
Oh, easy. That's it.
Easy.
That's
Easy. It's funny. I ran her too, though, but it's just like, okay, I can't keep up with the Fire Knight. Anyway, guys, listen, I will let you go. I'm going to go try my best to see what I can do here. Odds are in 2 seconds for my viewers, I'll say, yeah, guys, I couldn't do it. But in the meantime, guys, check out these amazing YouTubers channels. Tons of strategy content. I'm sure they'll have tons of dungeon stuff for you guys as well. Aren't those guys amazing, guys? Aren't those guys amazing? Thank you again to both of them for coming on. So I've been working for about an hour trying to theory craft something here, and not much luck. I'm counting on you guys and everybody else. I even reached out to Scratch and basically every high-end player I know to see how they're doing, and nobody at the time of this recording at least has beat Fire Knight on the actual server. On the test server, it was a lot easier, so there are those test server videos out there, but they increased the speed. It is super difficult now. Anyway, my best idea, right, is going with a block damage champion like Helikath, going with Little Miss Annie for a heal reduction as well, and then Valkyrie for damage mitigation, and basically just trying to stay alive as long as possible vis-a-vis the block damage and the shield. But I just haven't I haven't been able to actually put everything together yet. Probably need to work on my speed tuning, right? To be honest with you, get these speeds even faster. I think I'm going to have insane speeds. I'm talking like 300 speed potentially. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use the block damage out the gate here, because we're going to have Valkyrie's shield anyway, right? And then we're going to use it on the next one. So in Little Miss Annie, I think we could probably just go in there in the settings and turn off her, excuse me, okay, Valkyrie's, here's the shield. It should keep us alive for one attack at least, right? Dude, they destroy so much freaking max AP. They overtuned the dang Fire Knight, man. This is nuts. This is nuts. I'm sure someone's going to find out a way to do this, obviously. It's only, a few hours after the update went live, but it is pretty crazy. So we have the block damage now. We're just going to continue to do A1 the entire fight with Little Miss Annie again. It's a triple hitter, and we can probably land a freeze, get a little bit of turn meter decrease. Not much, but hey, we have Gory on the team, by the way. I didn't mention him, but he has that freeze on 100% on his A2. So again, it's about, we didn't land, obviously, as you can see, the heal reduction from Little Miss Annie. Not that we didn't land it, we'd have an opportunity to land it. So that's going to be crucial as well. Otherwise, it's just going to heal up. So, man, oh man, this is wild, guys. But it's cool to have a challenge, too, at the same time. But I think it's overtuned at the same, but it is day one. It is day one, right? I'm sure there's some champions out there. I tried Vogoth. I tried a couple different combos just to see. Nothing was really working. So I don't want, it's going to be stripped either way. So we might as well go with the A2. I was going to say, I'm not sure if we want to go with I think Krichax is going to die here. Yep. So we're going to need to make Helicat a heck of a lot faster. I don't know, guys. Just wanted to give you an update. Fire Knight! Fire Knight, Fire Knight, Fire Knight! Eventually, I'm going to take you down. Expect a follow-up video on Fire Knight Hard strategy coming at you guys soon. Thank you again for joining me throughout to the end of this video. I really appreciate you guys. Let me know how you're doing with these dungeons, how much you're enjoying them or not enjoying them. Thank you, and as always, take care, guys.